Good morning and welcome to Teesside Karting for round 5 of the owner-driver sprint series. On track at the moment we have Bambino's. Their session has already started. We're 2-3 minutes into their qualifying session with 7.5 minutes remaining. And it's Tyler O'Neill who's your leader on track at the minute with a 56.161. Jacob Rump, he's out on track in the number 15. He's second from Edward Haynes, who was your pole sitter and final winner last time out. On screen at the moment, the 13 of Lewis Smith, followed by the 19, I believe, of Felix Medley, who is, I believe, back on a comma this time out. He's running an I-Army for a few rounds. In fact, it looks like it could be an I-Army on that. It says it's a comma on the entry list. We'll keep an eye on that, as he will have some additional speed with the I-Army. On commentary alongside me today is Tom Butterworth. Welcome, Tom. First time out to Teesside for this series this season, I believe, or?
Yeah, first time for the sprint series. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, lovely weather, lovely day for it, certainly. Enjoying some Bambino action, and then I'm really looking forward to the senior Pro Karts. I've raced here a few times in the British 24-hour in various different classes over the years. So really looking forward to seeing the guys that I know out in the series, racing in that. In the meantime, obviously, we have got the Bambinos out at the moment. It's still Tyler O'Neill going quickest at the moment, but he's a full 5 seconds clear of Jacob Rump at the moment, nearly 6 seconds. And it's Thomas Potter in third.
Yeah, very impressive by O'Neill. Their standard time for Bambino round here is around about a 1:01. Drivers occasionally dropping it into the just the high 1 minute. I think we've not seen many drivers this season go below a minute for the Bambinos. So O'Neill could possibly be running with an I-Army on there. We'll have a check when we pick him up on the camera feed. There he is.
Felix Smedley has just popped up into second place. 4.2 seconds behind now.
So O'Neill on the screen there as he comes through the final 2 corners of the circuit across the finish line a little bit quicker this time out, up to a 53.388 as he goes round the outside of the 55. That's Henry Hansen.
That is an I-Army, I think, on that, on the 77, Tyler O'Neill.
It's certainly got a speed advantage compared to the other karts out there. Expect if he keeps the speed up, I imagine he'll be in a class of his own as we go through the day.
He's still pushing on though, isn't he? He's head down, looking trying to get into that aero position.
So if O'Neill is running that engine, Smedley as well running on the I-Army, the rest of the field from Haynes in third down to Hansen in 11th at the moment, all running on the comma engine, so that'll be your main battle of the day. O'Neill looking now to go round the outside of the 9. That's Riley Buckton-Young, who does improve that time out. He goes up to 8th in qualifying. Qualifying will set the grid for Bambinos, and they will start as usual in the single file format and be set off as a time trial, start to finish cumulative time for their session, which will be 7 or 8 minutes. We'll confirm that later on. Bobby Pete there with a faster time this time. He moves him up to 4th, drops Rump and Potter down 2 spaces. Potter down in 6th. He's your championship leader going into round 5. Keep an eye out for Scarlett Dunn as well in 7th with the best time out that time. She's second in the championship, with Edward Haynes, the final winner last time, qualifying 3rd at the moment, who's the front leading comma. He's 3rd in the championship, so that's your top 3 in the championship. Keep an eye out for those 3 as their battle continues as we go into round 5.
This gap between 3rd and 7th is getting pretty tight as well. Just over 7 tenths separating 3rd down to 7th. So we're looking for a good battle today, I think, right down the field once the actual racing starts. So Tyler O'Neill is set a blistering pace, but as we've said, Tyler and Felix Medley are both on those different engines, so they will be, I think, disappearing off at the front once the racing starts. But I think we're going to see quite a good battle between Haynes, Pete, Rump, Potter, Dunn, and even Young could get into the mix, and Smith as well. Right down in 9th place at the moment. So there's only a second and a half between those karts. So I think we're in for a good race today.
Yeah, like I say, they'll be set off in the single file format for time trial, but once that flag goes down, everybody will be racing. They won't. What we've realised so far this season is that they don't really care about the time trial format, the Bambinos. It's just a case of find the driver in front, chase them down, and start battling. And we've seen some great last lap battles that on track, as if they were in a race format rather than a time trial. But we have 2 minutes and 10 seconds of this session left, so drivers that are coming round now will be potentially get 1 or maybe 2 more laps in. 44 of Haynes comes over the line, no quicker this time. Everything's rather static in terms of times with 1:50 left, and we've found this so far at Teesside is that you get a lot of times going down at the start of the session, a very static middle part, and then a fairly frantic last minute as drivers up their game towards the end of the session, and that's been a fairly common theme through all 5 classes here at Teesside this season.
A moment ago we did see O'Neill pump in another purple lap, the fastest lap so far. He's gone even quicker. He's now gone sub 55 seconds. And you were saying what 1:01 is pretty good round here, so yeah. he's gone 6 seconds quicker than that.
Yeah, anything sub 1:01 on a comma is a superb time.
Haynes is getting pretty close to that as well, isn't he, by the looks of things? In 3rd place.
Yeah, he must be touching on that. Hopefully, with the temperatures today, giving a lot of grip on these groove tyres that the commas will be using. Iami's, I believe, on slick, so that's going to certainly help those out there today as 4 or 5 karts come out of that section now.
I'd not noticed that the Iami's run slicks. That's interesting. I thought all Bambinos ran groove tyres, but the man in the orthopaedic shoes, I stand corrected.
I'll go out and check during the in the break between qualifying and heat 1.
They definitely look like slicks on the camera.
Yeah, I think so. They used 2 different types of tyre. There we go. Let's see if we can get a run down the back straight. They certainly look slicker than the standard tyre, because the Bambino tyre has a groove right down the middle of the tyre. As the session comes to an end, no improvement for Riley Buckton Young in 8th, no improvement for Edward Rye in 10th. As other drivers come over lines, no improvement for Haynes, but he's on pole position for Comma at the moment. No improvement for Pete either. So it's Rump and Potter and Dunn who will be looking to improve on their final lap round to see if they can push themselves further up the grid. No improvement from Potter. No improvement from Dunn either. Smith and Hansen to come over the line still. Hansen with no improvement. Smith is the final one to come over the line to bring the first qualifying session of the day for Bambino to a close. He's coming through now through the sweeping bends as he comes onto the start line. Over he comes. Any improvement this time round for Smith? No improvement for Smith, so it's as you were with 2-3 minutes to go of that session. Tyler O'Neill will start at the front of that single file time trial grid from Felix Smedley. Then we'll have the line of commas behind that, which will be headed by Edward Haynes.
So over the scales, all our young drivers, everybody getting the thumbs up, it looks like. So we've just been having a little discussion in the commentary box about how warm it is for a start. It's like a greenhouse in here. But we will be taking your comments and having a good read of those, and we'll give you a shout out. So please keep them coming in to either the YouTube or the Facebook live stream. We will read them sort of periodically, and we'll give you a shout out. So people at the circuit, if you want your drivers mentioned and things like that, then give us a shout. But also people watching at home, tell us where you are, what you're doing, and we'll give you a mention as well.
Yeah, unless you're in a beer garden later on, and then jealousy's going to kick in.
Jealousy's definitely going to kick in.
Don't tell us if you're somewhere nice,
drinking an ice cold drink.
We're not taking holiday
while we're in the hot box.
Not at all. So we're underway now with Junior Pro Kart qualifying, and we looks like we've got a problem already for the 13 of Callum Booth. Arm up, and he's back in to the pit lane. Let's hope he gets himself sorted and back out for this 10-minute session. And we are now underway. No time set so far, but drivers who've gone over the line for the first time.
That's the number 11 of Taylor Pryor, sort of bulking himself over the curb on the inside of hairpin 2 there. Tried to get a run. I missed what number it was, actually. Still can't see it, but yeah, I missed what number it was, but he's definitely over-driving at the moment. I think he needs to maybe just get himself a little bit of a gap. It's number 18 that he bulked himself on, which is Ben Heffenden. Just needs to drop back a little touch, get himself a bit of a gap, and then have a clean drive through. Number 9 with his hand up there, that's Jake Richardson. I think he's getting held up now. I think he's going to have a big look into the hairpin here and get through, and then carry on his merry way. Maybe not, in fact.
Now, Heffenden very quick into that hairpin. He's carries a lot of speed into corners. It looks like sometimes it hampers him on the way out as those three get a tow from each other as they go down the back straight.
That's what I was just going to say, actually. With this being qualifying, you know, is it worth racing like they are and overtaking and holding each other up? Is it best to just find somebody who you know is quick and try and sit behind them?
Well, I think that's certainly the modus operandi of Alexander and Ballesteros. Alexander, championship leader and perennial front runner here, has been followed round the track by Sandro Ballesteros. They go over the line within half a second of each other, and both of them jump back to the top of the pile. Alexander provisional pole from Ballesteros in second, which nudges Lambert, Morris and Barker down. I think Morris and Barker running similar tactics out on circuit. They'll be coming round now to set their next lap time. Barker at the head of that pack, and it is Barker and Morris running together. Let's see how they go. They both jump together and split the Alexander and Ballesteros 1-2. So it's Barker up to second, Morris into third, Ballesteros down to fourth. Asher Blythe running up in fifth. He's gone in front of Lambert. Ballesteros now makes a move back up to second, straight back down to third though as Lambert improves on his time. Everything moving around at the start of the session, but your top 10 as it stands so far: Alexander, Lambert, Ballesteros, Barker, Richardson, Morris down to sixth. Blythe, Spears, Pryor. It was Heffenden, but he's been nudged down now as Jennings makes a huge jump up to third, and he's going to sit just 1/10 off the pole time with a superb 46.856 so far of Alexander, but it's not as quick as Morris, who's taken pole with 7 to go with a 46.7.
The timing's jumping around like a roulette wheel at the a slot machine at the moment. Up and down and round we go, and Alexander, just dropped down to second place, but he's still less than a tenth behind. This gap between third and sixth is 7/100ths of a second, separating at the minute what could be a potential podium in the final down to sixth place. So really, really close. Just under a tenth, separating second to sixth.
Yeah, Jack Morris, your current pole sitter at the moment, a driver who has possibly set more fastest laps in this series this season so far, without taking a victory. He's there, but it's Blythe now with a faster lap as the times start to tumble even further. 46.662. Asher Blythe up to provisional pole. Alexander sets a faster time but doesn't improve in position. Lambert moves up to 4th. So let's see whether Morris can respond with another fastest lap. His 1 lap race pace so far this season for Morris has been superb. Always battling it out top 3, 3rd, 4th, 5th in that sort of region, but his 1 lap time, he set some superb fastest laps this season towards the end of most races. I think hopefully now he can step up and take it to the battle of Alexander and Barker, who are your front 2 in the championship so far, and there's been very little between those 2 so far this season.
Barker's actually just set his fastest lap of qualifying so far. He's gone 4th, just under 2 tenths down. We also saw Brandon Jennings as well. He set a previous quickest lap. Lambert has now jumped up to 3rd, so less than a tenth separating the top 3 now. We got fastest laps so far from Spears and Pryor down in 9th and 10th as well. Lots of drivers going quicker now that those tyre pressures are coming up.
Booth up to 10th, so it's nice to see Booth back out on circuit after his 1 lap and back into the pits. Arm up in the air for a technical problem, but Barker has moved to the head of the pile with 4.5 minutes remaining. Morris, fastest lap, but still down into 2nd. He's overtaken Blythe, will be 3rd. The championship leader, Alexander, down in 5th. Another fastest lap, but doesn't move any further. It's hundredths rather than tenths at the minute for these drivers, as they all struggle to improve on their times.
That's incredible. 200ths of a second separating the top 3. Just over a tenth separating the top 5. Really, really close racing here.
Yeah, Vazeos back into the pits, and with 4 to go, it looks like his session will be over. Improvement times towards the bottom end of the field for Braden O'Connor. 2 seconds separates top to bottom in this session. That's how close Junior Pro Kart is and has been throughout this season so far. There's these 2 on track at the moment. That's I
think that's Spears and Pryor.
The low early morning sun causing problems, picking
up
numbers
on
cameras.
And a bit of contact as well there. Spears and Pryor, ding dong, relaying themselves around, doing the old do-si-do down the back straight as well, and yeah, really exciting. And this is just qualifying. It looks like they're going to be side by side on the grid as well, so this could be a good little all-day battle. We shall see. Oh, and a little nudge there as well.
Yeah, they obviously haven't got the parent memo that this is qualifying, and to keep themselves out of trouble and work together. So I can only imagine those 2 are hampering each other's times as the 68
of Hogarth
goes down the inside, the 42 of O'Connor, and O'Connor getting the toe, and then too much of a toe as he runs slightly wide round the bottom end. It opens the door. That allows the 71 of Jennings, I think, to go down the inside. So they'll run Jennings now, looking to get onto the back of Hogarth and get a toe with 2.5 minutes. So these drivers are 2 or 3 laps.
And there he goes into 5th with that overtake and a nice double toe down the back straight. Good driving.
Yeah, Hogarth working the wheel quite aggressively as they go round the national loop into the first hairpin front, following the chicanes. Some aggressive steering wheel input, and it looks like he's gone a little bit tight into there. The 71 of Jennings down the inside, and
classic move, classic Teesside hairpin 2. One guy goes inside, one guy goes outside. Down they go down the straight side by side, and it's whoever's got the inside into South Bank.
Yeah, it's the standard first overtake of the lap at Teesside. If you can't get down the inside into the first hairpin, at least try and stick it back down the inside on the way out of the second one.
You often see somebody stick it down the inside at hairpin 1, and then they have a bit retaken at hairpin 2. It's a really good layout, this track. I love driving here.
Yeah, it's non-stop action. And then you get down to the bottom end round the South Bank corner, and then you'll always find drivers sticking it into the first hairpin, and if they don't, it's into the second one.
Absolutely.
If you can't make a move into the first one, there's always another corner to follow it up. And then you'll often see them run side by side through the final 2 sweeping bends over the concrete curbs to the line. I think last time in Junior Pro Kart, we were watching the battle for 3rd to 5th, and Miss Barker and Alexander go side by side over the line by well, not very much. It was sure there was there was gasps from the spectators, and we missed it as we were watching the entertainment of the battle for 3 to 4.
We've had somebody just go round actually into the hairpin just off South Bank. I'm just going to get a number as he comes past. That's number 18, Benjamin Heffenden. He's just lost it into the hairpin coming off of South Bank, but he's back underway again. It doesn't look like he hit anything. It just back came round.
Yeah, should hopefully get another at least one more lap in, maybe 2, to see if he can improve on his current 12th. 2 drivers in the pits at the minute. Spears in 10th. He's not going to improve. Neither Vazayos, who's been demoted down to 16th. Jacob O'Connor improving up to 15th with 20 seconds of this session to go. Bright orange helmet there, 42. That's O'Connor. He goes down the inside of the 12 of Braid, who ran very wide out of that hairpin. 3 drivers over the line just in enough time before the checker comes out, so they'll get another lap in. So your next driver over the line is the 18 of Haffenden. Let's see if he improves. No, this time round, and that's his session done. Neither for Alexander. The championship leader will start 4th at best. Ballesteros ran up the front, but he'll start down in 9th. Lambert will start 6th. No improvements for any driver so far over the line. Richardson in 8th. Drivers coming through. No more improvement either for Pryor. Short gap back now to Booth as he comes over the line. No improvement on 7th. Everybody else coming over, no improvement towards the end of the session, but the top 3 are still to come over, and they are line astern. There they go over the line. No improvements for any of those 3, so currently it's Mason Barker who's 2nd in the championship. He will start on pole position for Junior Pro Kart from Asher Blythe in 2nd, the best qualifying of the season for him. From Morris and then Alexander, they'll be your top 4 as we go swiftly on from Junior Pro Kart, and that was a frantic session. On to Cadets, and they've got a bumper 28 kart grid, a mix of 200 engines and 160s. The sealed 200 karts will probably be maybe at least a second to a second and a half quicker than some of the 160s, although we have seen some of the faster 160s mixing it with some of the 200s throughout this season so far.
That's right. In fact, our 160 championship leaders are Ollie Poole and Jacob Gilbert Lee. Our 200 leaders are Oliver Buckton and Alexander Mallard. So looking forward to a good session from these guys.
Okay, so that was a very frantic Junior Pro Kart session, and expect that to carry on throughout the rest of the day. All of those karts off the grid, and we'd expect to see Cadets straight out, and there we go. First ones are out onto the track, very fast turnaround. First kart out onto the grid is the number 8 of Bella Franklin, followed by the 20 of Catherine Potter.
We're just having a few little technical issues with our screen here, so we're going to start doing old school and commentating out the window. But, oh, there we go. Now we're back up and running. Great. So once we've got some timing, we will let you know what's happening up and down the grid. Meanwhile, we have Leon Barlow. Should we give him a shout out? Number 42. His first meeting at Teesside this season. So he'll be one to watch. We've also got Sophie Porsey in the 77, her first meeting at Teesside for this season. Charlie Wyatt doing his 2nd round. And he actually finished P2 at the last round.
Yeah, made quite an impact last time out. Turned up first meeting, dropped it onto pole position, ran at the front throughout the rest of the meeting. I think he struggled with the standing starts in the first heat. I think it might have been one of the first times he'd done it. He dropped straight down to P5, and it was a tough session for some of the cadets, more so Junior Pro Kart prior to that, because it was a partial wet, partial dry session. Some drivers out on wet, some out on slicks. It really mixed up the pack for those two classes. More so Junior Pro Kart, Not so much cadets as it had dried, and a lot of drivers went out on slicks. There was only 1 or 2 on the wets that time, as they'd watched the previous session, saw it was drying out very quickly and the wets were dropping off. We're going to have to keep an eye out on this session with 28 karts on the grid and 20 drivers on the qualifying list down the side for timing, so we'll see how they go. But Ethan Girling is your early pace sitter in the 81 from Bella Franklin and Charlie Wyatt.
Just a thousandth of a second separating Bella Franklin and Charlie Wyatt at the moment. 0.041 and 0.042 behind Girling.
Yeah, not much back to Mitchell either with the 0.71. And there we go, Mitchell straight to the top, followed by Potter. So it's Mitchell and Potter, 1 and 2 so far. Shields has improved, he's up to 5th with he's 3 tenths off the top. Nothing between a lot of these drivers other than Mitchell, who's set a superb time. Wyatt there jumps 2 tenths to go back up to 2nd, provisional front row for him. Some racy action there towards the back. That's the 77, that is Pawsey. The 73 is Frankie Smedley.
And 66, Ollie Buckton, he's just gone up to 3rd.
Yeah, championship leader Buckton, he's had a couple of final wins this season.
And Bella Franklin's just gone quickest overall, immediately beaten by Mitchell.
Yeah, Buckton down to 5th already, having been towards the front a few moments ago. He's had 3 final wins so far this season, rounds 1, 3 and 4. Clean sweep at round 4, 3 heats and a final for him. First driver in Cadet this season to clean sweep a weekend.
And there goes Wyatt quickest again. So it's the battle is on, I think, between Wyatt, Mitchell, Girling and Franklin here for pole position. Wyatt is currently sitting at the top, but we've got to get Mitchell and Girling back over the line again. I think it's these tyre pressures are coming up. The first sort of 2-3 laps, they tend to take a couple of laps to come in, and then all of a sudden, bang, in goes that quick lap, and then it'll sort of stay around about the same, maybe a tenth or half a tenth off. And there goes Mitchell to the top, immediately followed by Potter, just 2 tenths behind.
Yeah, very little now between. We're down to a second splits the top 12 drivers on track so far. Let's have a quick look to see if we can pick out who's the fastest 160 driver so far on that. We'll certainly know Ollie Paul down in 17th. He's running a 160 with the O plate on his kart. Buckton improves up to 6th, but he'll certainly not be happy to start there with the head of the championship. But his main challenger Mallard is down to 9th, so a personal battle between them two will ensue for the top of the championship, if nothing else today. But we've got 28 karts out there in this Cadet, a bumper grid for Cadets, biggest one by far this season for Cadets. Potter and Mitchell swap round at the top of the pack, and Potter by 0.004 of a second. That's probably the size of taking your bumper off the kart. Has sent that one over the line for provisional pole with just under 5 minutes left. Improvement down in 15 by Giblet Lee. Shield swaps places with Penniston to move up to 11th. Penniston down to 12th.
Be interested to measure actually how much 0.004 of a second is over here. It's probably about the, like you say, about the width of the start-finish line, isn't it?
It's nothing. It's a thick start-finish line as well. So
yeah, there's very, very little, isn't it? 0.004 of a second. Wow. It genuinely doesn't get much closer than that.
It certainly doesn't. But Mitchell now back to the top of the pile. Potter down to 2nd. Those two will be taking an all-girl front row if it stays as it is so far. Franklin down to 7th, held up slightly on that last lap. She came over the line, had to take a wide route round the outside, which is not the optimum route. Adds a couple of extra metres to your lap, which is a couple of extra tenths. The green overalls there down the back straight. That is your pole sitter at the moment, Gracie Mitchell, with 4 to go. So that's Mitchell and Potter both on screen at the moment, working together to try and hopefully improve both their times. But as we get down to the next couple of minutes, I imagine it'll be everybody for themselves. 87 over the line. That's William Robinson, followed by Bella Franklin. No improvement for either driver. 3.5 left, so it's Mitchell, Potter, Wyatt, Girling, Mack, Fox, Whiteley, Buckton, Franklin, Boulding and Mallard improves to move himself into the top 10. So Buckton in 7th, Mallard in 10th, your top 2 in the championship. Improvement for Boulding moves him up to 7th. Improvement for Wyatt, but no improvement in grid position.
Great to see a large contingent of female drivers as well in the cadet grid. I think this is the most female drivers I've actually seen on any particular grid at one time. Fantastic to see.
It's superb and running very well towards the front. You've got Mitchell
first and second.
Mitchell and Potter provisional front row. Franklin in 9th. Lizzie Mentier in 13th. She ran very well at the last meeting. Qualified it in 5th. Finished the first heat in P2. Had a problem in the second heat with a spin. Ended up down in P12. Worked her way back forward to finish the day in 6th as Wyatt ruins the all-female party to take provisional pole. So far 2 minutes 20 seconds left and it's a 49.002 and that's a spin for, I think that was the 04 of Aaron O'Toole possibly, but Wyatt with a 44.009. Can any driver drop it below 49 seconds with 2 minutes to go? They're probably going to need to if they want to dispose Wyatt of a second consecutive pole position here at Teesside at round 5. Struggle to pick the numbers out on the screen again with the, I think that's the 27 going round. That's Hudson Barker Dix with a 200 engine looking to make a move. That on the, I think that is the 4.
It was the 04 that we saw go around, Aaron O'Toole. Quickly gathered it up and carried on his way. So still just over a tenth between the top 3. And then wow, I've just had a look, the gaps between 5th and 8th is half a tenth. So that's going to make for some good racing as well. Yeah, it looks like Franklin has allowed Mitchell to move in front and now is looking to gain a toe right on the back of Mitchell. As they come round. That's working together for you. See, now that's clever for qualifying. Yeah, very wide line for Mitchell there. Looks like she sacrificed the previous lap to try and get a faster run, but she's gone very wide this time. I think she's let Franklin through and is backing out of it. She's backed out of that. 50 seconds left, so it's either end of session or getting herself ready for one final go at this. Well, she's come back through again now. Maybe she's hunting Franklin down. And Potter as well now moves to the inside. And then back out wide, so that's your top, that's 3 female racers within a couple of metres of track, and they'll look to work together. So it's Franklin at the front there in the blue, Mitchell in the green, the white and black livery with a touch of orange for Potter. So those 3 come out of that final corner. They'll cross the line with around about 10 seconds of the session left, so they'll have another go at this. Here we go, and Mitchell in the toe of Franklin as well. So she's, I think there's been a bit of gamesmanship going on, a bit of jostling for position, and it looks like Mitchell's come out on top of that one. She's going to use Franklin as a toe rather than the other way round. Wyatt with a 48.886 to cement the position at the front. So Wyatt even faster as he currently sits at the head of the pile. Mack up to 4th as the checker is out. Where did Mack come from? That was a fantastic final lap at the end. Buckton, he won't be able to improve, so your championship leader will start 7th at best. Other drivers to come over that would look to nudge him down. Franklin down in 10th, Mallard in 11th. They'll be hoping to improve their time. Improvement for Hudson Barker Dix, but not in terms of grid position. So Mitchell crossed the line, but she didn't go any quicker, unfortunately. Neither for Franklin. Wyatt's still got time to improve even further. Mallard, checkers out for him, no improvement. So Fox Whiteley is the only one that's potentially going to be able to move up from 8th, and he doesn't. So it will be Charlie Wyatt who will start on pole position for the 2nd consecutive meeting. A superb 48.886 for Wyatt. Nobody will be able to catch him there. And that's another superb session to the end. We thought we were looking at an all-female front row for a short while, but Wyatt ruins that party as they come over the weighbridge. That's the 818 of Lewis Mallard. He's using a 200 engine for the first time in round 5. He used a 160 for his first meeting here in round 4. Moves up to the 200 class this time round. So we'll see how he progresses using that engine for the first time at Teesside
as the day goes on. 47 there, having a little bit of help back onto the weighbridge. That's Reese Penniston. Drivers running to a minimum weight limit for all classes, so they have to wait until the previous driver has left the scales before they can make their way onto them. 16, that's David Mack, who put a superb final lap in to move himself up into 4th place at the end of that session.
He certainly did. He came from about 8th or 9th, I think, wasn't he? And then suddenly moved up, and yeah, fantastic final lap.
37 of Jack Thompson giving us our first weighbridge wave of the day.
We're expecting some dabs from the cadets. That seems to be the way at the moment, doesn't it?
We had one driver do it consistently last time.
Oh, there we go. Got the 27 there, just patting the side of his car. That's Hudson Barker Dix. Almost a well done, well done.
So there's your 3 female drivers who ran together to try and improve their times. Franklin, Mitchell and Potter, they all came over the line at the end with no improvement, unfortunately, for those.
Love the colours on Mitchell's car, actually. They're going to be really easy to spot through the day, I think.
You say that until that there's 2 of them in senior Pro Kart and you can't tell which one's which.
Well, hopefully the sun is causing us some issues at the moment, but you know, I'd much rather it be like this than chucking it down with rain. I'm sure most of the drivers would agree as well.
Yes, some superb conditions compared to what we started with last time out, where it was a very wet session at the start. And then, to be fair, the track surface does dry really, really quickly here at Teesside. All barring the 3rd hairpin, which stays very slippy for most of the time.
It certainly does as well, which is, I find that's the trickiest corner on the track as well. I don't know about yourself, because there's that horrible bump as you come into it.
Yeah.
And that you've got to try and dodge. So you either go wide coming in to go around it and make a late apex, or you turn in early, hit an early apex and dodge the bump, or you just middle it and hope for the best and straight over the bump you go. I find that's the trickiest corner, and like you say, when it does get a bit wet, it does get very greasy and stays that way for a long time. It seems to take an age to rubber back in, but we've now got the 2-strokes out on circuit, so we've got junior and senior 2-stroke on circuit at the same time. They will also be racing on circuit at the same time.
So we've got and a Minimax thrown in there as well, of the number 3 of Jay Smith. He's on a Minimax. Got 4 drivers on juniors, 4 drivers on seniors at the very least. So we've got 8 out on track at the moment. Zach Bowker, your early pace setter with a 44.302, as there's only 2 drivers set time so far. Keep your eye out there for the 44 of Andy Ambrose. He is your senior 2-stroke championship leader, with the 2 other drivers at the front. Daniel Kell not here today. I believe he's out with his actual race car at Croft this weekend rather than his kart here at Teesside.
We've got Ryan Elliott in the 67. He's running an X30. I think pretty much everybody else is on a Rotax.
Yeah, I don't know if Ryan's with us there this weekend. I've not crossed off the some of the 2-stroke emissions off the sheet, but your early pace setter Bowker is now down to 5th. Collinson, 43.251 in the number 74. He is followed by Alfie Lindsay who's 2/10 back. So the mix of karts and the grid remains mixed throughout the day as well. So if a senior kart retires from the first heat, they'll just start at the back of the pile and have to work their way through the junior Rotax drivers. So it really does mix it up with the 2-stroke grid running together. So that's the 3 of Jay Smith, followed by Alfie Lindsay in the 44. And then not much in the way of Lindsay can't get past as they go down the. So it's Andy Ambrose, sorry, not Alfie Lindsay in the 44. As he then goes down the inside into the 3rd hairpin.
So just to confirm, the seniors have got the blue numbers, haven't they?
Yeah, seniors with blue numbers.
Oh, sorry, white numbers with a blue background. Yeah. And the juniors have the yellow background with the black numbers.
Yeah, and the. So we'll keep an eye out for the grid split for those, but it's Collinson who's holding firm from Lindsay at the front. Championship leader Ambrose will start third as it stands with 6.5 or 6:50 left of this session.
He's got a clean lap this lap, so let's see what he can do. He's got no traffic in front of him. Yeah. He's being followed by Collinson. They're right in his wheel tracks.
There you go. The two strokes I find do take the much tighter line that you were speaking about round here. Not many of them favouring the traditional Pro Kart line, which is to run as wide as possible in order to maintain speed and stick it in. A lot of the two strokes take a much wider line into hairpin 3.
So we've got no improvements at that lap.
Collinson still your leader, 43.107, a tenth in front of Lindsay, who in turn is another tenth and a bit in front of Ambrose before there's a gap back down to the 77 of Jude Cole, your front running, who's running in a junior. So Lindsay on a junior, Cole on a junior, splitting the front seniors of Collinson and Ambrose, but there goes Ambrose with a 43.067 to move himself to the head of the pack.
Full clean lap this time, nobody in front of him, and didn't have to worry about the pass that he did at the end of the previous lap. So he's now got his head down and his mind clear, and he's just under half a tenth in front of Collinson now.
Yeah, Bowker with an improvement in his time. He still sits 1.2 seconds off the front of Andy Ambrose. So Bowker in the 41. He's first time here. Same for Collinson. Same for Swan in 7th as well. Ambrose, Lindsay, Ficini, Cole and Smith, regulars here at Teesside with 5 minutes of this session left.
A shout to Smith as well on that mini-max in 6th place. Good effort from him.
Yeah, we've seen some superb improvements really from Smith and Ficini as the season's gone on. They spent a lot of time battling with each other in the opening rounds, and their improvement has been pleasing to see and to watch as we've moved from the first round with the first season running a two-stroke grid here at Teesside. It's slowly growing itself. 8 on the grid at the moment. We are missing a driver from the original sign-in list. That's the 33 of Max Prentice, who we're not seeing out on track, but he was on the sign-in list. We'll see if he's with us and he's got a problem, or he's just chosen not to quali, and see how he goes as a driver with a blue background. That's a senior kart, moves into the pits. That's Andy Ambrose, so that's your current provisional pole sitter. He won't be improving with 4 left. I don't think he'll be able to get himself back out with 4 to go.
Just called it a day, saving the tyres for the race, do we think?
It could be, because you don't know your lap times when you're out there, do you really? So we can see that Collinson's only 4 tenths off. So Ambrose now out of the equation really will be a sitting duck time-wise if Collinson can knock 4 tenths off and put it on the front row. But I think Ambrose, either way, will probably start front row, unless either Collinson and Lindsay can improve. The next best one will be back to Ficini, who's half a second off the front, as he's running a junior. So will Collinson too has come into the pits. So your front 2 are in the pits. Lindsay in the 86 is also running a junior 2-stroke. So 2 seniors in the pits, down to 6 on-track runners with 3 left. 3 going down the back. That's the 77 of Jude Cole, looks like, and that's Ficini and Smith. So 2 junior drivers and the 77 of Jude Cole as well running together.
You can see that you can see the jack that 77 Jude Cole has actually got in the chassis on that kart. The flex as he came round the 4th hairpin, and the rear wheel is just pawing at the air. The inside rear wheel. Whoa! Ooh. Big crash.
77 loses a wheel, so 3 wheels on the wagon for Jude Cole. Nothing really that
snapped the rear axle
that Ficini could do about it. He's spun off
sprocket's gone and
to miss him.
I mean, both drivers look okay, but yeah, as you can see, the Marshall picking up the rest of the axle and the wheel.
So he's not just lost a wheel, he's lost a full axle. There it's gone. I knew absolutely nothing about that.
It's the 4 of Ficini.
Arms up from the 77. I think he thinks that he's had some contact there from the guy behind to send him off.
I think he definitely did. I think he moved
until the marshal
and didn't know he was there.
No, certainly until the marshal held the wheel up and showed him that he was missing something from the back end. I think he thought there was contact from the 4 of Ficini. Certainly wasn't. There was a solid gap between them. It was the axle shearing itself away from the rest of the car. Axle, sprocket went with it as well, tyre and everything. Luckily, both drivers managed to stop prior to the tyre wall there, because it's not a massive run-off. I think the fact that the chassis was dragging on the ground has really slowed that 77 down very quickly. Minute 10 left of the session. 5 runners remaining, 2 in the pits, 3 in the pits. In fact, Bowker is also in, so we've got 4 on-track runners. The 77 of Cole out as a retirement with the axle. Hopefully they've got a spare to stick on that one and get him out for the rest of the day, or it'll be a very premature end.
So we're looking at our highest placed protagonist at the moment, which is the 86 of Lindsay. He's still pounding round. Looks like he's giving it everything as well. So he's only just over a tenth off.
Yeah, 40 seconds. Let's see whether he can...
So he's third in the junior championship at the moment, and running a junior to be only just over a tenth off the seniors is very good going.
Yeah, it's superb. Another driver who we've not seen yet today, and the 33 of Max Prentice regularly runs it towards the front of the with some of the seniors and isn't afraid to take it to them. Finished second overall in round 2, but it was only half a second off the front runner of Scott Lowther in that session, just to show the sort of speed that Max has got in that 33 car. Checkered flag is out as the 3
We're watching for
of Smith comes over the line for no improvement. Improvement for Lindsay to a 43.111, but not enough just to nudge Collinson off that front row. So that's the session complete. The 2 early pitters of Collinson, he'll start second from Ambrose in the 44. That is your front row in the 2-stroke class. The only class here, 2-stroke today, that will start with a rolling start. All other classes will start as a standing start.
So this is where things get a little bit crazy for us, with 32 entries on the senior Pro Kart grid.
Yeah, another superb turnout for the senior Pro Karts.
We've got two distinct different classes of clubman and pro, so we'll keep an eye on those as well, and try and keep abreast of who is where in each class.
And then a subclass as well for drivers in the over 40s. We'll see some drivers racing for that crown as well later on today.
We're expecting front runners. Connor Lucas?
Yeah, Connor Lucas has been the
Josh Falkus.
Yeah, they're your top 2 in the championship. Your top 5 in the championship senior Pro Kart so far this season. Connor Lucas at the front, followed by Josh Falkus. Ben Fallon in 3rd. Scott Tate in 4th and Danielle Gardner 5th. That's your top 5 in the championship. Not sure that Tate's with us this weekend, but Connor Lucas has been very, very impressive so far this season. 16 races, 16 wins. That's 12 heats and 4 finals. 16 consecutive wins for Connor Lucas this season in senior Pro Kart.
Untouchable.
Very untouchable. I think he's only been beaten once in terms of qualifying as well by Josh Falkus in the previous round. But he certainly hasn't had it his own way. I think his average heat win has only been by a second to a second and a half over the 10 lap heat. As we are underway, first car out onto the track. Orange helmet of the 151 Brandon Truman Reddish, running a brand new 7 car, Mark 6 7 car out this weekend, setting some very good times in free practice at the start of the day and in practice yesterday. Keep an eye out for him, bright orange helmet and livery. You'll
Gotta love that low rumble of the senior pro karts coming through. It's going to be like a fleet of Spitfires coming past when they come across the line in just a moment. Truman Reddish has got a nice clear gap in front and behind him.
Yeah, that's the tough thing with senior pro kart, is finding yourself a gap when you're running laps of 46, 47 seconds, and you've got 32 karts on track. You've got just over a second a kart effectively on the tarmac, and it's either finding yourself somebody of a similar speed to run with.
Oh, we've got 2 karts round at hairpin 2. Just trying to get the numbers of those. That's the 183 of Alban Dowell. He went round, and there was another kart involved in that as well, but unfortunately I missed who it was. I'll try and get a number as I come back round. Yeah, could have been a bit of contact into hairpin 2.
Truman Reddish using the gap at the head of the field to set the fastest lap so far, 47.090. Folkus and Lucas, your top 2 in the championship, second and third so far. Other drivers.
Expect these times to come down over the next 2, 3, maybe even 4 laps while those tyre pressures come up. They do take quite a while to come in. I mean, the track is pretty hot at the moment, although we do have a little bit of cloud cover, so expect the first sort of 3, 4 laps we'll be getting some quicker times, and then probably drop away after that, but we shall see. Truman Reddish definitely doing a sterling job of getting himself right out the front of the pack with a good gap, and we're going to get Lucas over the line now. So Lucas and Falkus running nose to tail, separated by 0.12 of a second, pushing each other along, working together. Smart driving from the qualifiers, and Charlie Bingham down in 3rd place.
Yeah, first time we've seen Charlie here this season, potentially getting himself ready for the British 24-hour at the start of August.
And there we have Connor Lucas giving the let's work together, don't overtake me, just push me along, let's focus eyes forward rather than eyes backwards.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that battle, and it will potentially be Folkus, Lucas and Bingham will be a battle. Charlie Bingham in the number 2, keep an eye out for him, very distinct livery. It's pink and black coloured car in the Haas chassis colours. Lucas and Folkus, they're working together, and Bingham splits the pair of them, but he's still 3/10 off Connor Lucas, who's so far this season made Teesside his home. Martin Black with a jump up, and he moves himself up to 5th. I'd love to tell you the top 10, but it's moving about that quickly. I'm not even going to make an attempt at it.
We're looking at the 55 of Brown and the 51. 51? I've got a 51 on there, but I haven't got a 51 on my entry.
That could be the 50. The 52 of White running around there. The 55 of David Brown running in the pro class. The 80 is David Brewish running in the 40s. 52 is Connor White.
Yeah.
In the senior, back for a round, having missed round 4. So Lucas at the front. Folkus improves his time to go in front of Bingham, but those drivers are running at the different ends of the circuit. So there'll be around 20 to 25 seconds between Lucas and Folkus going over the line and Bingham going over the line.
Reddish has just come across the line, not improved. He's 6/10 off now, but he's still in 4th place. So a really good, smart move from him to get himself right at the front of that train coming out of the pits. And he set his time early, and it's now for everybody else, set that benchmark, and it's now for everybody else to come and meet that, which the top 3 have done, and then some, by 0.3 of a second in front of them. But from there on down, in fact, as the 52 of Connor White now goes into 4th, and Bingham has overtaken Falkus now into 2nd.
Yeah, that's the 43 on screen now of Connor Lucas, your provisional pole sitter and dominator so far this season. Folkus head down behind him. Looks to be some new headwear for Folkus. Normally with a white helmet, looks to have got a splash of pink and blue on him this time round for the. Must have had a birthday. must have had a birthday. Asked for a new helmet. There we go. It's a brand new one. That's the 2 of Charlie Bingham. Distinctive livery and checkered helmet as well. as he comes over. Let's see if he can improve. Not this time out, so it's a fairly static top 10, in which we'll now, with 4 minutes to go, have an attempt at running through. So it's Lucas, Bingham, Falkus, White, Truman Reddish, Black, Lowe, Gardner, Tate and Begord. That's your top 10 as everything starts to move as I finish off. So
Gardner's just popped up in 4th place with her best lap of qualifying so far.
Barker as well makes his first appearance in the top 10 so far. Reddish now down to 7th, Lowe now up to 5th, Reddish down to 8th. Bit of traffic for some drivers. That's the 757 of Simon Doughty.
And the 81 of Mark Tate as well. So we're looking at these guys getting pulling each other along really. The gap seems to be staying fairly static. Bingham puts in his best lap again, improves in time but not a place, but he's less than a 10th now behind Lucas. So as you say, I think Bingham getting his eye in now for the 24-hour.
Yeah, Gardner making a move up to 3rd, Falkus down to 4th. And qualifying here at Teesside, very important for the front runners. If you can get in the top 3 rows, you get a fairly clean run through the bus stop at the start. Anything further than that, the pack closes itself together, and it's very tight, and we've seen a lot of drivers that should have potentially qualified higher fall foul mid-pack, as Lucas sets an even faster time at the head of the field, 46.013. He's still a 10th in front of Bingham. Falkus, he's in the pits with 3 to go, so likely to improve. Gardner sits 3rd.
We've got the 190 of Mitchell and the 117 of Jackman have just set their quickest laps respectively, so they are 17th and 18th at the moment, just around about a second off the pace of Conor Lucas at the moment. But there is going to be a really tight race, I think. There's going to be some really good racing, really close, tightly packed action between this grid of 32 karts.
Yeah, top 17 drivers covered by less than a second on the grid so far. I imagine that'll go down to at least 20th as the drivers improve.
Reddish pumps in his quickest lap of the race, of the qualifying as well. He improves in time but not a place, stays 8th. We look at the through the chicane and the what do we call them? The S's, the wiggles. They've got all sorts of different names, haven't they? But
I call them painful if you go over them, because
they are
some of the most aggressive chicane curbs, certainly on the opening lap.
When you go airborne over them, you know about it, absolutely.
You just hope you come down before the grass.
Yes, and I can stand testament to have been airborne over the first one and the second one in my time. And yeah, they are definitely painful, but a great set of corners, especially in the 24-hour when we run the long circuit and you come down there absolutely flat chat.
So that's Lucas, who's caught up onto the back of Truman Reddish. So that's your current leader and current 8th in Truman Reddish.
And that's it. I think Lucas has backed out of it. He had a good look around.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's calling it a day now.
Either giving himself a little bit more space. I think he'd have hoped to have potentially gone past. And I think as well, if Reddish should have known that Lucas was behind him, I think he might have let him through and used him as a tow with a minute left to get that one last lap in, because Lucas certainly knows what he's doing. But it looks like he's now caught up onto the back of the 2 of Charlie Bingham. So from running half a lap apart, they're going to run together now for the final lap. And is this tactical by Bingham to slow back onto Lucas, use themselves to work together to try and improve? But it's a full competition for them two now.
Lucas just putting the thumbs up, I think, over to the pitch just to say, I am okay, everything's okay with the car. I just wanted to have a slow down and a bit of look around.
Yeah, Reddish has dropped back behind them two now, so unless Reddish gets held up as well, which he has on that hairpin, so it looks like that Reddish gets held up behind the 52. All of those are going to work together. Reddish to the head of that pack. It looks like none of these are going to have enough time really to get round for a final go. The checkers should be out before those, and those three are battling. And if Reddish can go round the outside of them, either he's got a lot of pace or these two at the front have backed out. Reddish has backed out as well. Nobody wants to head that pack, but the checkers out. None of them are going to get another lap. All their arms are up. They're all coming in early. Checkers gone. Not setting the line over. The last one over the line there, setting a time. There's no improvement, so those two will start at the front of the pack unless Gardner can drop a time in the green car as she comes over the line. No improvement for Gardner.
Jackman was a big improvement on that final lap, jumped from 18th up to 13th.
Only driver left, I think, to come over the line is the 64 of Rob Lowe, who's running to foot, and there he goes over the line, so no improvement. So as the session comes to a close, it's Connor Lucas with another pole position. Somebody new alongside him this time, though. It's Charlie Bingham in second. Danielle Gardner, Josh Fulkus will be row 2. Rob Lowe, Connor White, row 3. Jensen Barker, Truman Reddish will be the row 4. Martin Black and Mark Tate round out the top 10. And then we've got Begord, Richardson, Jackman, Mitchell, North and Brown. It's going to be an incredibly close battle for the senior
I can't
Pro
wait for
Kart.
this race, to be honest.
So that is the end of your qualifying sessions here at Teesside Karting. Be sure to...
Can we send them straight back out again for their heat? Because I quite fancy this. This is going to be...
Let's grid them straight up and go again.
That's it. I think this is going to be a cracking set of races. Really looking forward to this senior Pro Kart race.
So entertainment all the way through the day for from Bambino to senior Pro Kart in qualifying. We've got an hour break or so now before we are back live on air. Pictures brought to you by Alpha Live in association with our series sponsor NRG Cycles. We'll speak a little bit more about them as the day goes on. But be sure to set the reminders for in just over an hour's time. Join us back here, myself, David Sullivan and Tom Butterworth. We will see you very soon.